Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ali Reed. This is my channel, Ali Reads. Today we are reading Marriage a Heartstopper fanfiction by heartstopper_fan22, chapter 51, Pickup. Before I start this, I do want to make a little announcement. Due to my bad financial decisions when it comes to the pet store, we now have a channel pet. It's a betta fish. They had baby betta fish when I went to the store, and they were being held in really bad condition. So I bought 3 and gave 2 to other people. They are living in really good homes. And then we have our little pet. Her name is Penelope. So yeah. I thought I would let you guys know. She's currently my centerpiece, which my partner is slightly upset about. But either way, she's adorable. I will try and put a picture in. But I just wanted to let you guys know. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, either just to say hello, because I would love to just say hello. I would totally reply to every comment. I read them all, just so you know. And also leave recommendations. I would love recommendations. Also, I want to start doing a series of reading stories where people have disabilities, because I have a disability and I have friends who have disabilities, and there's just not a lot of stories where there's someone who has a disability and they're like not just like the funny side character, you know? So I decided that I wanted to do at least a couple, not a lot, but I want to do a couple of those. And then also, the next episode that I post is probably going to be tomorrow. I know, off schedule, but it's because it's a book segment called What Really Happened. I am absolutely in love with this one. It is a murder mystery romance type thing. So if you enjoy those, tune in tomorrow, and you can listen to that. So let's jump right in. Sorry for the long intro. Chapter 51, Pickup. Charlie's perspective. I opened my eyes to realize that I was still cuddled up on Nick's chest on the sofa in the living room. Last night we didn't move or do anything. We just sat on the sofa talking and watching films until I fell asleep in his arms. I feel so stupid for relapsing again. It was such a stupid thing to do. It's just making my life harder. Nick is probably freaking out, and I know he will treat me differently now. Whenever I relapse back in high school and university, he would be so protective of me. I don't want him to feel like it's his job to keep me safe. I just want him to care and support me. Looking down at my arm, I can see the large cut trailing across my wrist. I didn't mean to go that deep, it's just the glass was so sharp, and I wasn't thinking straight. My emotions got a hold of me. I can't let this happen again. I want to live. I love my life with Nick. He's amazing, and I can't wait for our future together. I could tell by the way Nick held me last night. He was scared. I don't want him to feel that way. For the next few days, I'm going to struggle, and I know that. It always happens. I'm going to feel the need to hurt myself, and I need to resist the temptation, not just for Nick, but for me. For us. Nick's perspective. I opened my eyes to see Charlie laying on my chest, zoned out. I can't help but wonder what he's thinking right now. I need to make sure nothing goes wrong for the next couple days. I know there's going to be extra hard for him. I just hope he talks to me when he feels upset or is having a hard day instead of hurting himself to cope. I need to pick up the flowers today, but I don't want to leave Charlie by himself. He's unstable right now, and I can't trust that nothing will go wrong if he's alone. I did mention yesterday that I needed to go pick up a new swimsuit as a cover for picking up the flowers, but it doesn't matter if we don't have the flowers anymore. All that matters is I keep Charlie safe. So I hope he forgot that I mentioned it. I ruffle his hair and say, "Morning, my love." He smiles back at me. "Morning," he says. His face was bright, and he seems very happy, but I know Charlie was very good at hiding his feelings. "Are you okay?" I ask him, trying to get the truth. He kisses me for at least 10 seconds before replying, "Yeah, I feel much better." I smiled and said, "Good. Seeing you sad last night broke my heart, babe." He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. He crawled on top of my stomach so that he was laying directly on top of me, with his hands wrapped around my chest and his legs laid directly on mine. His actions spoke for themselves. "I love you so much," I whisper into his ear. He smiles while saying, "I love you too." Charlie's perspective. I cuddled on top of Nick for another hour and remembered he wanted to go to the shops today and buy a new swimsuit. I didn't feel like doing anything today, but I didn't want Nick to cancel his plans just because he thinks he needs to look after me. I turned my head so it was facing him and poked his face to wake him up. He immediately said, "Babe, are you okay?" I replied, "I'm fine. I just wanted to remind you that you need to go to the shops today, remember?" He quickly said, "I don't want to go anymore." I knew he was scared to leave me alone. Like I was some little kid who needs constant care. "No, Nick, you should go." He replies, "I don't want to go. I'm not going unless you come with me." I sat up and said, "I knew it. You're scared to leave me alone, aren't you?" He hesitated, then said, "No, I just..." In an agitated tone, I responded, "Don't lie to me, Nicholas." "Don't call me Nicholas." I snapped. "Don't lie to me then." He stood up from the couch and said, while going to the kitchen to make me a coffee and him a tea, like he did every morning, "Fine. Is it that bad of me to want to make sure you're okay?" I didn't know how to respond to that. I know he was trying to do what's best for me, but I need him to trust me. I hate feeling like a burden, and that's how I feel right now. I feel like a burden right now, and I will only feel worse if you don't go shopping. I promise, Nick, I'm okay. He stopped doing what he was doing and picked me up into his arms. "Fine, but only because you were honest about your feelings." Telling him how I honestly feel did really help. I held onto his large biceps and rested my head on his shoulder, soaking up all his love and comfort before he headed out to go shopping. Nick's perspective. I left the house to go get the flowers, although Charlie said he was fine by himself. I couldn't risk it, so I called Tao to look after him for me. While I was gone, even though I know he will be livid at me for it, I just needed to make sure he was okay. If I left and something happened, I would never forgive myself. I don't know what I would do with myself if I was the reason Charlie got hurt. After I proposed to Charlie, I need to figure out how to get him help because he's starting to really worry me. Chapter 52. Babysitter. Tao's perspective. I got a call this morning from Nick, which shocked me because he was really pissed at me after the beach. and rightfully so. I wasn't thinking straight that day, and I was a complete dickhead. He asked me if I could hang out with Charlie while he was gone, and not to take my eyes off of him. Charlie obviously relapsed. That's why Nick was acting like a crazy boyfriend. Charlie's lucky to have someone who cares for him as much as Nick does, even through all his struggles. I couldn't have been more wrong about Nick. It was like he was made for Charlie. They were perfect for each other. I know Charlie too well to know that he was not okay with the idea of me watching over him while Nick was gone, so I just wouldn't tell him that Nick sent me. I've been meaning to spend some time with Charlie and ask him something anyway. Of course, I told Nick yes, and I would leave right away. He made me promise like 4 times I wouldn't take my eyes off of him. I reassured him I wouldn't let him down, plus I wasn't going to take my eyes off him, and it wasn't my first time being asked to look after Charlie. Before Nick came around, Charlie's mom would often invite me over to keep an eye on him. Honestly, I'm just worried about Nick, as I am Charlie. He seems to take the whole relapse thing not so well. I will try and talk to him, if he'll let me. I arrive at Charlie's house and text Nick right away that I've arrived, then knock on the door. Charlie's perspective. Nick had left and I was alone in our apartment, which didn't happen very often. I was about to turn on the TV and rewatch season 4 of Stranger Things, so I would be ready for volume 2 of season 4 when it came out. I was a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan myself, and me, Elle, Alid, and Tao played in high school. So it was no surprise that I love Stranger Things. Nick watched it with me, but often got really scared, so he would just bury his face in my chest. The show was about to play when I heard knocking on the door. It kind of freaked me out because we weren't expecting visitors. I stood up on my tippy toes and peered through our peephole and saw my best friend Tao standing at the door, waiting for me to let him in. I opened the door and he sighed. "Took you long enough, geez." He walked into our apartment, making himself at home, like he always did. Then I said, "Hi to you too?" He laughed and continued to look through our cupboards for snacks. "What are you doing here, Tao? You could have at least texted me that you were coming." He smirked and replied, "It sounds almost like you didn't want me to come." Although he just showed up, I was happy he was here. We hadn't talked in a while, and I was really missed my best friend. "No, I'm really happy you're here," I said before sitting back down on the couch. Tao came and joined me on the couch and started talking about Elle and his wedding. It was such a beautiful ceremony, but that reminded me about the jewelers and how they never emailed me back. He was probably just busy. Tao was, "It's scary when you propose to Elle." He looked at me and responded, "Are you kidding? I almost shit my pants. Everyone said we should wait. We were too young, but I knew that she was the one, so I just did it." I wish Nick would propose to me, but I don't think he's very good at firsts. When I think about it, I led every first in our relationship. I wish Nick would propose to me. I don't want to do it, and I don't want this to happen because what if he doesn't want to marry me? Tao scoffs and rolled his eyes. "Charlie, are you blind? Nick loves you more than anything. And he is always watching and caring for you. Of course he wants to marry you." I froze when he said that. I had just realized why Tao was actually here. Nick sent him to fucking babysit me. I looked at Tao and said, Nick sent you, didn't he? Tao is the world's worst liar, and his face said it all. I knew it. He did. He asked you to fucking babysit me. He then said, look, Charlie, I know you may not see his point of view, but he only wants to protect you. I know Tao was right, and I couldn't blame him. I was an unstable wreck, but I couldn't help but being mad. I don't need a babysitter. I needed a friend. He hugged me and said, Charlie, if I wasn't your friend, I wouldn't be here. Yes, maybe Nick asked me to make sure you were okay, but I wanted to. I really missed you. I hugged him tighter. I really missed you too. After we talked for a while about engagement stuff, Elle and Tao and Nick, Tao noticed Stranger Things was paused on the TV. Oh my God, Charlie, I didn't know you watched Stranger Things. I looked at him as if I had seen a ghost. Duh, we were practically obsessed with D&D growing up. The show is literally based off of it. We both gushed about our favorite characters. Of course, mine was Steve because I had a huge crush on him. Robin and Will because they were gay icons. And Eleven because she is amazing. I wanted to ask you something, actually, Tao said in a serious tone, which worried me a bit. What is it? I said in response. He then said, you can say no, but Elle, me, Alad, James, Lily, and Summer were wondering if you wanted to join our D&D club. We've only met up twice and would love for you to join. Honestly, I really miss playing D&D, and I just haven't realized it until now. I've never met James, Lily, or Summer, but if they play D&D, they must be nice and nerdy like me. Yeah, that sounds super fun. Right as I said that, Nick came through the door, smiling. Alright, everyone, that is the end of today's episode. In the next episode, we will be reading chapter 53, Counting Calories. So, again, careful with that next chapter. But anyway, like, comment. For comments, you can always just say hello. Or just tell me what you want to see. Tell me about your day. Tell me whether or not this episode needed more of something, whether or not the mic needs to be in a different spot, something like that. You can always let me know. And I would love to reply to all your comments. I love reading the comments, so just let me know. I would love to know these things. I'd love to say hello. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and goodbye, ladies, gentlemen, and everything between. Bye, friends. See you in the next episode.